decorum reasons. If you're tossed out of those galleries, you can bet you'll be tossed out of the WVCDL, and we'll be vocal about it. So, in the galleries, hats off, no flash photography. They do introductions, you can clap at that time. Generally, other than that, no yelling, no clapping. It's very quiet. You just kind of sit there and observe. That is the way it works. Now, I'm going to tell you that your presence in the gallery, though, has an enormous impact on those guys. Yeah, but you get legislators that are down on the floor and they look up and see all those black shirts. They know what that means. And for those of you who haven't heard it, I'll explain why. There's a principle in political science, principle of magnification, that for every person that sends an email, you represent 10 people who vote the same way you do, but couldn't have been bothered to send an email. For every person that writes a handwritten letter or makes a phone call, you represent 100 people that think and vote the same way you do, but couldn't have been bothered to make a phone call. Someone who shows up, literally shows up, represents 1,000 people who couldn't get the day off work, couldn't be bothered to be there, maybe don't care enough to come down, but in the ballot box will do the same thing you do. This is why your presence at Lobby Day makes such a huge difference. When a lot of these other groups showed up, they're being paid to be there. A lot of these groups that show up, and you'll see them tomorrow, they're being paid to be there. They're being offered beer and free rides and everything else to show up there. The legislators know that you're there because you care. And they know that when you come into that building, you represent 1,000 of your friends. And that's why another reason why appropriate decorum matters. Because if you act like a jerk, they assume you represent 1,000 jerks. Don't be that. Don't be that guy. Any other questions? Yes, Louis. Okay, the question was on the definition of secure and out of view. The answer is that is undefined. All right. So the law does not define secure and out of view. Yes, Keith.
Guarantee means the car doors have to be all locked.
Right.
Guarantee that's the minimum.
Keith is an attorney and says that the bare minimum says car doors have to be locked. I am going to maintain that if they don't see it, then it's secure and out of view. Yes. Laidley Field Park. There is in a small auxiliary lot at Laidley Field. I'm going to advise that if you are on the Laidley Field property, you not have any deadly weapons on you. The reason for that is a partially leased by Kanawha County Schools. Or at least was, and may still be, and I'm going to assume still is. It's possible it's changed hands in the past few years. Shuttle buses. I take advantage of those shuttle buses when I'm down there on non-lobby day. And buses generally do not run on a government holiday. So you can make the mistake of standing there at that little bus stop waiting for the Capitol shuttle bus to come on. It never comes around. Any further questions? Yes. Media policy. There will be media there tomorrow. Generally, if the media approaches you, defer them to the board of directors. Start with me. If you can't find me, direct them to Amber or Ian, Kevin, one of the board members. I don't know how many of you guys have dealt with the media, but they are very good at verbally moving you into a box where you say something terrible. Something that you don't mean to sound the way it actually sounds in front of the camera after they've hacked the 20 words before and the 30 words after, and you've got this little snippet left. that paints it like you're some bloodthirsty, ravenous killer. And believe me, if they can do that, they will. Don't let it happen to you. The safest way to do that is to direct them to the board. We're used to dealing with the vultures. Yes? Where? Bottom floor of the rotunda, so the ground floor as you walk in. So if you're walking towards the Capitol, you got these big steps that go up. Not that floor. You have to enter through the wings. There are, on the exterior side of the east and west wing, there are signs that say public entrance. When you go through, don't be surprised, there will be magnetometers there. They're going to sweep you. They're going to go through all your stuff. Pocket knives, folding pocket knives under the 3-inch limit. I said 2.5 inches. 3.5. What is it? Somebody look it up. 3.5 inches. They'll let those go right through in the little basket you put in. They will not, apparently they will not allow mace and pepper spray, etc. And I'm sure they would lock me up if I tried to walk through with this. That's probably, I'll take a ruler to it, but that's probably safe. There will be magnetometers. I'll give you guys something kind of funny. Don't run on your way there. I'll tell you why. I don't think any of you have heard this story. I'm not even sure the board's heard this story. I was coming down to meet with a legislator, and it was freezing, and I didn't have a jacket. So I decided, and the shuttle wasn't around, so I decided to jog from Laidley Field all the way across the campus. And once I warmed up and thought, well, I might be getting ready to start to sweat, I backed off to a walk. Well, apparently, all of that video surveillance had seen me running. And when I got to the magnetometer, I was met with 7 armed officers who could not explain to their pal why they were there. So, if you run, apparently it gets attention of the wrong kind. I don't know. I just found that to be amusing.
I have our answer. The doors apparently open sometime after 7, but they say 7. On that note, recently I was there when there was, I don't know what's going on. They were a little more aggressive with the security. They were standing I'm here all the time. I assure you, none of those guys have to be hurt. They're none of them are picking on you. They're singling you out because you're doing the video. It's just some days it's a little more intense, some days it's not. Some days I didn't do there, some days I did there. There's nothing going on that I'm aware of, and there's 5 of them. So it's not, it has nothing to do with us.
Expect a heavy security presence tomorrow. I very seriously doubt if that security presence has anything to do with us. There are some other groups that are coming down there that they have some concerns about. So keep in mind that if they're being fairly thorough in the security screenings, Amber's right, that's probably not about you. Okay. All right, so I'll give you guys a general rundown of the way Lobby Day works. We'll all meet at 8 a.m., ground floor under the rotunda. So if you're looking straight up and see a chandelier, you're in the right place. So under the big dome. From there, what we'll do, for those of you who've never been to a Lobby Day before, we break up into groups. And we generally do that by Senate district. And we'll call out all the counties in that Senate district, and we'll put you in a group. And then depending on who's in that group, we will generally volunteer somebody to lead that group around to all the various legislators that are from those districts. What to expect? A lot of them aren't going to be home. They're not going to be in their offices. Some of them will. Most of them will come out and tell you how ragingly pro-gun they are. Some of them will lie really badly about that. They're known anti-gun, and they're telling you how pro-gun they are. You'll see a bunch of that. But you'll go around. Most of them that you will run into will say they're pro-gun and they'll mean it. Some of them will, you'll see it. Some of them will see you and make a beeline to you because they love these black shirts. They know how we work for legislators during campaign season, so they'll seek you out in some cases. Pretty funny. I remember Senator Carnes last year or year before. We marched a group up to his office, and he pops open his shirt and like he's Superman, and there's one of our logos right there. Yeah, you'll see a very mixed reception from these various legislators. Yeah, some of them will be cordial, but you can see the hostility in their eyes. Some will be openly hostile, but most will be very happy to talk to you. And a lot of them will want to get to know you one-on-one. Hey, where are you from? You know they want to know where you're from in their district. And they'll get to know you personally, and that's a good thing. Take advantage of that. All of you guys should be on a first-name basis with your legislators. If you're not on a first-name basis with your legislators, get busy. Get on a first-name basis with them. I guarantee you, Danny, when he walks in that building, you know, some of them are going, oh, not him again. And some are making a beeline to Danny. You know, that's the way it should be. That is living up to Eisenhower's expectations of our involvement in our government.
Danny didn't have to be his legislator.
Yeah, in Danny's case, doesn't have to be his legislator. Right? Danny stirs the pot every now and then. That guy's important.
I walked around with him in the
Any other questions for us, or any guys lose? Patrick Morrissey, yeah. Well, if you guys happen to roll past the Attorney General's office, feel free to pop your head in there and tell the receptionist thanks. Please tell Patrick thanks. The Attorney General has been a very strong proponent of our rights from before he was elected. And I'm going to tell you right now that you talk about the WVCDL's influence on the national level. Oh man, that is happening with Patrick Morrissey. A lot of folks probably don't know this, but he's been involved in supporting pro-gun litigation. He signed on to a letter that affected Trump's change in the Social Security Administration, stripping people arbitrarily of their gun rights. He's been fighting the fight at the national level for West Virginia. We tend not to publish a lot of that. One, because Patrick's kind of bad about letting us know what he's done. And number two, we focus so tightly on state issues, sometimes it escapes our notice. It just simply escapes our notice. But Morrissey has definitely been fighting the fight for us from day one. Feel free to stop in, poke your head in. You're probably not going to get to talk to Patrick, though you may be walking around and find him make a beeline to you and introduce himself somewhere else in the building. Yeah, I've seen that happen. He'll stop you just because you're wearing a black shirt and talk to you. Yeah, feel free to stop in and thank him. That will go a long ways for him. He probably needs to hear it from us. Wes. We'll repeat that a little louder. How many people here attend the state fair?
Had my hip replaced.
Let us know. I think they have about 75.
Let me reiterate that because Wes's voice doesn't project real well. Those of you who don't know Wes, he is the WVCDL's resident model. He can be found on runways in Milan and Paris. Wes does help us and many others in working the state fair. Now, I have been to the state fair and worked it. And let me tell you, the number of people, you remember that principle of 3 contacts? The number of people you can reach with 1 contact at that state fair is unbelievable. You can have 5 people standing in that booth with a line for each of them, trying to figure out who we are and what we do down there. You can be overwhelmed, that booth, and then other times, you got 3 or 4 people standing there. But I'll tell you, you can reach a lot of people down there. And Wes was putting out the call for women because, as I was talking about earlier, women, it's a reality. For other women are a little more disarming. It's not as intimidating for a woman to walk up to another woman and start talking about them. And so, any of you women that can help out at that state fair for a half day, full day, couple days, come down, work a shift, whatever, it will make a big difference. It'll make a huge difference. So spread the word for the women who are not here.
I don't think none any here so far has
He mentioned the Pumpkin Festival at Milton. We actually did do a Pumpkin Festival 1 year. We did that, and it was surprisingly successful. Last time we just didn't have anybody volunteer for it. So congratulations! I will pull up the 4 miles from it. I'll drop the Mac McMillan rule right on top of your head. He's probably watching this stream and cackling right now.
I'm sorry, I didn't say PayPal.
Yeah, congratulations. We'll get you some people and some materials for the Pumpkin Festival next year.
Just send it to
I don't know how many of you guys know the Geralds, but they've been real strong supporters of ours. It's one of those, I focus on the low-hanging fruit. I'm looking for the clips and cargo pockets. What guy walks by carrying carrying a 45? And I said, well, he's got to be a member already. So I call him over and start talking to him. He'd never heard of us. I'll talk to him, I'll lay his spiel down, hand him some cards, get him some info about the website and the Facebook group. The next day he comes back for 5 memberships. 1 for each member of his family. So pretty awesome. I love it when the WVCDL has to use the front logo on a shirt for the back logo on a toddler shirt. That is awesome.